who are you targeting to? Who is your target market? People pay when you solve their problem or you are solving an innate need that they have. Once you figure out your business idea, the next step is for you to determine who do you want to target, right? In the country that you live in, India can be divided into 4 different categories depending on how much money they make and where do they live. Right? There's a report by Bloom Ventures, which is very popular right now. And I want you to have a look at this graph right here. This is what the Indian population looks like. Number 1, you have India 1 Alpha. This is the cream of India. These are people living in posh apartment societies in bungalows of the top metropolitan cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, and they are making a lot of money. On average, they are making over 30 lakh per annum or more. Right? These are people who are having Western values. They are speaking in English. They are happily subscribing to a lot of subscriptions, like they're buying Zomato Gold, they're buying the Netflix subscription, and they are actually paying money. There are just 10 million such people in India. Even though you might have seen we have 140 crore people, there's only 1 crore of that whole population who would actually pay for all the services out there. And then you have India 1. Now India 1 has about 120 million people who are living in tier 1 and tier 2 cities, and they do understand English, they are tech savvy, and they're aspiring to make more money. They are using apps like Oyo, like GPay, and many others. On the other hand, you have India 2. Now India 2 is about 100 million people which are living in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. These could be the likes of, Lucknow, your Indore. Then we have other cities as well. They don't make as much money and they are into vernacular languages. They are not very digitally abled, but they're aspiring to become better every single day. And at the end, you have the India 3, which is the most of the rural and the tier 3 plus cities out there. Over 1.2 billion people of India live in this bracket. They are less educated. They are mostly into manual labor, and they don't use most of the applications that you and me actually use. They are probably using YouTube, or they end up using ShareChat or other applications like that. Although we say that India is the fastest growing economy in the world and India is the most populated country in the world as well, most of the people, 1.2 billion people in India, which comes under India 3 bracket, cannot be monetized. These are the people who are not making enough money for them to afford any of the services that you might want to sell them. I think that there is huge potential in India 1, people who are living in tier 1, tier 2 cities, and they are aspiring to make more money. They are growing every single year, and that is who you can target for your own business. Another thing to understand about India is the weird nature of the country. It works on a power law in which majority of the things are done in the economy by a very short number of people in India. For example, the top 1% of the country makes 22% of India's total income. That is an insane number, and it is growing every single year. You can take any other example. 6.5% of people on UPI are doing more than 45% of all transactions. 45% of all flight tickets are booked by just the top 1% of India. 33% of all orders on Zomato are made by just 5% of the users on their platform. Here is a graph that depicts the user behavior. There are 700 million internet users in India, out of which about 500 to 600 are there on social media platforms like YouTube and Instagram. Only 250 to 300 million are using UPI. About 170 to 200 million are using e-commerce websites like Amazon and Flipkart. Only about 80 to 90 million are using ride-hailing services along with food delivery services. And just about 60 million of them are there on OTT platform subscriptions. It's crazy how Netflix is offering their subscription for the cheapest around the world at just $2 per month, and still they just have 6 million customers in India. You need to understand what really works in India, and emotions play a huge role. If you can tap into the 7 emotions people have, that is the only way that you'll be able to win. These 7 sins or emotions are pride. People need to feel that status, that I am bigger and you are smaller. The best example are the weddings. Best examples are luxury cars. Great example is the blue tick you see on the social media platforms. Number 2, you have lust. There are applications like Tinder and Bumble and Chingari, and they are solely working on the basis of tapping into the emotion of lust in people in India. Number 3 is greed. People want to make more money, and if you can tap into their emotion of getting rich quick, then you can win as well. So applications like Rummy and Ludo and fantasy gaming work incredibly well in a country like India. Emotion number 4, envy or jealousy. If you can make someone else jealous using a platform, then you will always stick to it. A great example is Instagram. People post the best highlights of their life, like them being on vacations, them buying a car, them being in a new home, them accomplishing new things, but never talk about the realities and the day-to-day mundane activities that they are doing. The 5th one is gluttony or hunger. The best example is Zomato and Swiggy. People are hungry, and the best way for them to solve their hunger is to go on these apps like Zomato and Swiggy and curb their hunger. The 6th one is wrath. If you can allow people to go on your platform or product and spread hate, anger, be angry at people, that platform will have crazy engagement. And no better example than Reddit along with X, which is Twitter. And the last of them all is sloth. People are lazy. And if you can help lazy people do things, your company will win. Right? So urban company, you can take example of Zepto, take example of Blinkit, Big Basket. All of these are tapping into the emotion of laziness. People don't want to do things. And if you can help them with it and do that at a cheaper cost in India, then you will win. You can check out websites like Google Trends to understand what is it that people are searching for.